Hello, Gemini Star Spiritual Wellness. I wanted to continue on with our discussion about the Hermetic Principles that we started in the previous video. So, in the previous video, we covered 1 through 4. So, today we're going to do 5, 6, and 7. So, this will probably be a pretty quick video. And I just wanted to finish up on it because I think these principles are pretty smart and there's a lot of wisdom in them. So, I wanted to share them with you. So, I want to recap a little bit from the previous video on how the Hermetic principles are. What are they? They were written by a man named Hermanus Trigomatis, probably not saying his name right, Trimagus, Greek name, but he lived in the first century AD and he did some ancient teachings and spiritual philosophy. So, that's basically what these principles are parts of his ancient teaching and spiritual philosophy. And he's believed to have written the Emerald Tablets and Corpus Hieratum. And they also, the Greeks and the Egyptians, they basically adopted him as the god of wisdom because he knew a lot about spiritual matters and was very wise. So he came up with these 7 principles, and a lot of them are, like I said, very, spiritual principles, but they're very, in philosophy, but they're very relevant to energy. And that's why I wanted to talk about them. So let's pick up where we left off with number 5. Looking at my notes here. I'm going to put it over here so I can see it better. So, number 5, the principle of rhythm. So, basically, between the poles, there exists an inherent rhythm. So, as you know, the Earth has its own rhythm, and you have the North and South Pole, and there's definitely, energy going between them, right? So, if you ever see pictures of the Earth, it shows the Earth, and you see like these lines going from North and South Pole, there's a rhythm. There's also a lot of geomagnetic activity that goes on around the Earth, as well as different energies going on. There's portals that open and close. There's all kinds of, energy things going on the planet. So there's definitely a rhythm. And if you ever hear of this Schumann resonance, a lot of times they say that's the measurement of the Earth's vibration. So there's definitely rhythm to it. And I like to keep an eye on the Schumann resonance because I notice that when it starts getting really high, that's when I have a lot of energy symptoms. So I try to keep an eye on it and it fluctuates, depending on the energy of the planet. And if there's something coming in, if we have solar flares coming in, that will affect it because, of course, we get a lot of energy from the sun. So everything is in motion and we can work with the universe's natural rhythms instead of having them work against us. So everything is in motion, and there nothing lasts forever. And so the only thing that's constant is change. So change is always going on all the time. Things are always changing energetically. Things are always fluctuating. And I think it's important in that one line about working within the Earth's natural rhythms instead of going against it. And I think it says we can learn how to balance our energy better by following that principle of going with the Earth's natural rhythm and just going with flow and just going with the energy and flowing. And a lot of people, we get stuck in this way of thinking where we want to control everything around us. We want to control everything. And a lot of that comes from fear and the fear of change and that we don't want things to change. And a lot of times we don't want them to change, even if the situation isn't good for us. Even if things changed and they would be better for us, sometimes we still fight against that change because of the fear of the unknown. But learning how to flow with the energy is important and letting go of that control. And I still struggle with that myself sometimes, depending on what the situation is. But I've gotten a lot better with being able to just flow with energy and not and kind of give up control to the universe and just letting things fall in place as they're meant to. And that is very, very hard to do. And it takes, a lot of time and practice to let go of that natural inclination of controlling things. And going back to that fear, on Earth, we are basically trained to be in survival mode all the time. So I think part of that fear and wanting to control everything comes with the fear of just trying to survive. and having that fear of, well, if I don't have, if I don't control things this way, I'm not going to have this or that or be able to survive. So there's a lot of fear that's driving that control. So if we can let go of that fear and let go of the control and just kind of let things flow and fall into place, then we're a lot more at peace and we're going to have a lot more joy. And I've noticed over the last couple years, even though I still struggle with that sometimes, that like I said, I've seen a large improvement in myself being able to do that. And I feel like I'm much more able to just, roll with the punches, so to speak, when things happen, and much more able to flow and just go with the energy and not get upset and not just let things fall into place. Because a lot of times when things are falling into place, we don't see it. We don't understand maybe why it's happening the way it's happening, or we want to, and so there's a level of confusion there, but it's just a sense of trust in the universe and the energy and let things just flow into place. Because, God has a divine plan and he's always looking out for us with, and he uses the spirit guides and stuff to help guide us, but he's always looking out for us. So he's going to let things flow into place and fall into place and help that along as much as he can. And of course, we can still fight against it, but by fighting against it, all we're doing is making it harder on ourselves. Because even if he decides, even if it's in, it's the plan is for us to have this happen, and he wants these good things to happen. If we fight against it by trying to control things and, have that control over it, then we could just push it back instead of getting those blessings earlier, instead of just going with the flow. And also, when you're full of fear and control, you're keeping yourself in a lower vibration than you would be if you just flow and focus on the joy. And I think a lot of times staying in the moment helps with this too, because it helps to keep your mind focused on the present moment and letting go of the past and not worrying about the future, and just having that trust in the universe and God that he's going to, everything's going to work out, and he's going to take care, he's going to take care of you, and that everything will work out with the energy. I think keeping balanced is so important with our energy, trying to stay in a balanced place. And I feel pretty balanced myself personally, but I still have moments where I swing a little bit with my emotions depending on what's going on. But I notice that even if I swing a little bit one way or the other, I'm able to get right back to equilibrium pretty quick, into that balanced state. So I might be a little off kilter for a couple hours, but then I'm able to bring it in back to a balanced state much faster than I used to be able to years ago. And I've also noticed that, it's taken me years to be able to do that and get to that point. But I also noticed, like, going with the flow, like I said, it's much more relaxed state, and you are in a state of peace and joy, and you're not worried and stressed out all the time like you would be if you were trying to control and you were worried about it. So basically, just go with the flow, go with energy, don't worry about it. Even if you don't understand why it's happening at the moment, it's happening for a good reason. You just have to go with the flow. And sometimes that reason is to teach us a lesson, and we might not think it's a good reason at the moment. But maybe 5, 10 years down the road, we'll be like, "Oh, now I understand why I had to have that experience, because it taught me A, B, and C, and I needed to learn these things to prepare me to, basically move up in alignment and prepare me for other things that are coming and greater things that are coming." So everything happens for a reason. There's no coincidences. So if you just have that mindset and just take it and look at it that way, then it's going to be a lot easier to go through those bumps in the road, and when there are changes, and being able to let go of control. And another thing I know, and I notice with myself and then a lot of people I talk to, is not just control of a situation, but control of how it happens. So if you're trying to manifest something and you're trying to control how it comes to you, that's also, holding it back from happening, because you're trying to force it to come in a certain way, and that's gonna, basically slow down that blessing from coming in, or whatever you're trying to manifest. It's gonna slow it down from coming into your reality, because that sense of control is a lower vibrational energy. So it's kinda repelling it and keeping it at bay and keeping it from coming into your life. So once again, you have to let go of how it happens. Just have faith it's going to happen and just manifest that it's going to happen, but let go of the particulars to the universe and let them let the energy deal with how it's going to come into your life or how it's going to manifest itself into your reality. So just try to let go of that control. And I know it's not easy. I mean, it takes a lot. And I think a lot reason why it's not easy is because we've been conditioned in that mindset of survival and trying to control everything around us. And that's just how we've been, programmed on the earth. And so it's hard for us to let go of that and learn to have that faith and learn to let go and just have that trust and go with the energies of the planet and go with the flow. And I know that's hard, but it can be done. It just takes practice and first step is being aware of it and then working on it. And it'll take practice, but you'll see improvement as you keep practicing. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is number 6. Get my notes out here. Principle of cause and effect. So everything is connected through cause and effect. And it seems pretty much common sense. If you do something, there's going to be a reaction to it. There's going to be a consequence to it, whether it's good or bad. So each everything has an effect and it causes something. It causes something else to happen. And basically the realization of this effects on our thoughts and behaviors can have affected a consequence we want it to bring in. So this realization is, well, if I make this decision, this is the type of consequence I'm going to have. And like I said, it could be a positive consequence or it could be a negative consequence, depending on what your decision is. But I think that if we can basically focus our thoughts and our beliefs and our behaviors in a certain way and try to be aware of the consequence that we want to come into our life, then it's going to be a much greater effect and a positive effect. So if we want positive things to come into our life and have positive consequences for decisions, then we need to really think about how that decision's going to go. Is it a high vibrational decision? That's something that's going to put us in high vibration alignment, or is it a lower vibrational behavior or action that's going to cause negative things to come into our life? So I think being aware of that and that realization of the principle of cause and effect is important when it comes to our life and how we want things to come into our life and how we make decisions. And not just decisions, but our behaviors too, because how we behave can have either a positive or negative effect on our life and those people and the people around us as well. And one thing I want to bring up about cause and effect is not just the mindfulness of our thoughts, actions, and decisions and feelings, but also be mindful that every little thing you do, and we don't really realize this with energy, but everything we do has an effect on other people. So if you're having a bad day and you're grumpy to people in the public, like saying things that aren't nice and just having not having a smile on your face and having that negative, you're going to have a negative impact on people around you, even people that you don't know, that maybe at the grocery store, that you run into at the grocery store or going out in public. If you're grumpy, you're going to have that, negative effect on other people. And that negative energy is going to be basically pushed onto that other person coming from you. But it can be the positive too. So if you're, happy and you're smiling and you have a positive high vibration going on, and you go out there, you're going to have a positive effect on the people around you. So sometimes just doing little helpful things can help make somebody's day, whether it's just opening the door for somebody, being polite and saying thank you, just saying nice things, being loving and caring in your energy towards others. That's going to have a positive effect to others. And it also has a ripple effect. And when you think about this with cause and effect, think of it this way. So if you have that action, we'll say positive action that you do to somebody else, it could be a friend or just someone you met, and you have a positive effect on them with kindness and love, then it's going to lift their vibration. And then they're going to turn around and more likely do something positive and loving to another person. And then it's kind of like a domino effect where it goes on and on and on and on because you think about you affected that person that day, but think about all the people they're going to affect that day. And then think of all the people that they affect that those people are going to affect. So you can see how it balloons out. And the same with negative. If you're negative and you're having a bad day and you're taking it out on somebody and being grumpy and just not fun to be around and being rude or whatever, that negative energy is going to is going to bring that person down that you're treating that way into a lower vibration. And then they're going to they're probably going to put them in a bad mood because now they're in a lower vibration and they're grumpy. And then they're going to react that way to the next person they come across, and it goes on and on and on and on and balloons out. So the cause and effect isn't just about how we interact with energy through ourselves, but it also has an effect to people around us and to the collective consciousness as a whole. Because the more and more people that are grumpy and in a lower vibration, it's going to have a negative effect on the whole group. But the more and more people that are positive and full of love and light and happiness and joy, it's going to have a more positive effect on the group. So that cause and effect is not just personal, but it can be, regional, could be a bunch of people, it could be even global, depending on the situation. So cause and effect can have those positive and negatives. And remember, energy is neutral. It doesn't know, it's not positive or negative. It's just a neutral thing, but you can use it for positive or negative depending on what you're doing with your energy level and your vibration. So let's move on to the last one. This is number 7, the principle of gender. So everything has masculine and feminine qualities. So we all hold masculine and feminine energies within us. And there's a unity within us of these within us. And think about your brain. You've got the left and the right part of your brain because your brain has, the middle part that comes, and you have the two hemispheres of your brain. And then the left side is the feminine side, and the right side is the masculine side. And and they crisscross each other, right? They work together. And it's important for us to bring the balance of our masculine and feminine energy together because each one of us has masculine and feminine energy within us. And, I feel like women are a little more prone to have higher feminine qualities. Not that they don't have masculine qualities within them, but their feminine side could be a little more stronger. And same with men. They could be, have the masculine side in them could be a little more stronger than, say, women would have. They still have a feminine side to them as well, feminine qualities. Now, I've met people who, depending on their gender, it could be a man who has very strong feminine qualities or a woman who has very strong masculine qualities. So it just depends. Everybody's different. But the bottom line is we both have masculine and feminine energies within us. And these two energies are essential for creation. And it's important because it brings balance. So these two energies are necessary to be within us to create balance for us. And that helps us because become a well-rounded person and in our consciousness to be well-rounded. So it's not unbalanced where there's too much masculine, not enough feminine, or the other way around. It has to be balanced in order for us to ascend. We have to have a balance of those two energies. And when we have a balance, we're able to better focus on ourselves, and it's a great benefit to us as well. So when you think about feminine energy, women are mostly, and that feminine energy is known to be, stereotypically nurturing energy. Usually women are very spiritual, very in tune with that spiritual side. So that feminine energy can be very loving, nurturing, and that makes sense because women are the ones that have children. So that comes out in our mothering to be nurturing, loving, kind, because it's part of our of how we are with the feminine side. But the masculine energy is could be very action oriented, and it's more of a how can I say it? It's more of it's action oriented and it's more temporal energy. So masculine energy is like getting things done and working and those types of things and taking action and different decisions and situations. That's taking charge of situations. That's a masculine type energy. But it could be, but you really need both inside you. So you need that, so you need that nurturing, loving, kind, love and light energy from the feminine side, and that you also need the action oriented, that being able to make decisions, move forward and get things done type of energy from the masculine side. So you really need that both. And sometimes it's hard for people depending on the circumstances they grew up in or their experiences, or any kind of trauma they experienced. They could be out of whack where one side is not as strong as the other, and it could be harder for them to bring that into balance. But you can bring it into balance, and it comes with the ascension process over time. You'll have experiences and you'll be able to bring those two energies into balance, and that's something to strive for so that you can ascend. So I want to end this video here just talking about the finishing up of the harmonic principles. I wanted to, go over the last couple ones in detail for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe to the video so that other people can get access to it, because when you do that, it shoots it out across YouTube so other people can see it. So please like and subscribe this video, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye-bye.